Okay, maybe give you some background on the timeline of the whole thing. You met up with Patrick in the 70s in San Francisco. What got you there?
I was from New York City, and I transferred to college in San Francisco because they had a more progressive creative arts department at the university there. And sometime, I believe between 1973 and 1974, through his roommates and my roommates, introduced us, Patrick Cowley and I. He was at the City College in the electronic music department. And I didn't make much of it first. We just met casually the way you meet in college a lot of people, and you're friendly towards everybody, generally, hi, whatever. But gradually, we did become friendlier, and I heard some of the music that he was making, and the music he was listening to. And I was interested in doing performance pieces. I came from a visual arts background, and I started doing very visual performance art. And at first I would use existing recorded music that I liked, but there was one piece coming up, and now we've forwarded to 1975, and I thought it would be interesting to get Patrick to do something. So I would have original music for an original piece. It just seemed more consistent. And I thought, based on what I knew that he liked, even though he was working on disco music and he was starting to play in the band for Sylvester, I knew that he listened to stuff like Wendy Carlos, Tomita, he listened to film soundtrack music, Nino Rota, Bernard Herrmann, and it was all much more like the kind of stuff I thought that would work in terms of sound quality for the performance piece I did. So I asked him if he wanted to do this project. He totally did. It turned out very, very well. And I think he got very excited about it because it was very different from what he normally was doing, which was dancier, funkier, jazzier. And it did give him more of an opportunity to emulate some of the things in the composers that he liked listening to. And so shortly thereafter, he just very casually suggested, why don't, let's make more music together. And I was kind of a closet band singer anyway. I think every art student from that period wanted to have a band. This was kind of the norm, the progression. So this was kind of an ideal opportunity because I didn't have to deal with a whole band. Patrick was a one-person band. He mostly worked with synthesizers, but he could also play, adeptly enough, any drum parts that needed to be done or simple guitar parts. And if not, he had plenty of musicians to choose from the existing Sylvester band and other musicians that he worked with. So it seemed ideal. He had a home studio. I felt totally comfortable with him. And I am pretty sure that the first thing we did, which was especially casual, aside from that ambient little piece he wrote for me, first thing we collaborated on, I wrote a song for a mutual friend of ours as a birthday present. It's called Bunnies. And, I basically sang the song for him, he recorded it, and he did all the arranging, orchestrated. He got the members of Sylvester's band to lay down live tracks on it. And then he played it back for me and was like, wow. So a collaboration was born, and it was a very flexible arrangement. Sometimes I come up with a whole song and he'd just work around it. Sometimes he had a musical sketch that he wanted to have lyrics and a sung melody to, and he'd give it to me to play with. Sometimes it would be a cover of a song that we both liked that we wanted to reinterpret. Every possible combination. We were very flexible, and we always had a lot of fun. So it was kind of ideal. But the other thing that I think was very important was, once again, that this was very different from what he was doing to make a living. Even, still starting out with Sylvester's band, and he was making his own disco music, which hadn't quite taken off yet. It would still be a few years, but this was his chance to do experimental stuff, because the influences that I liked were very different from the things he listened to normally. But he appreciated them when I played for him some Devo or some early Talking Heads or Pere Ubu. He never judged. He listened to the sounds. I was much more of a snob in the sense that I judged by style, and he just listened to the sounds, and it was a totally different way of thinking. So every style of music was a chance for him to emulate a kind of sound. So if I said to him, well, I hear this being more like a kind of Pere Ubu song, it didn't matter to him whether he liked Pere Ubu's music or not. It was just like, an opportunity to make sounds like that, which was very liberating. And so each song that we came up with kind of has a different flavor, and was a kind of different homage or emulation to other sources that we liked, either that I liked or we both liked, or sometimes it'd be something that he totally turned me on to. And like that.